Hello amazing family, this is Hadija and with the Parenting Mindset Shift, a place for parents to bring clarity, confidence, peace and joy to their parenting. And today we are talking about trust. And when I say trust, I don't talk about the regular, I'm not lying to my kid, I'm talking about the trust in the context of attachment and authenticity. So like I say, I'm not talking about the belief or confidence in someone or something based on the expectation that they will act accordingly and honestly, and in the context of we will act in the best interest of our children, and the confidence that we will be there for them or when they need us, right? So here I want us to explore the trust that our kids today don't even realize it's important yet. Because the trust that I want to talk about when I talk about authenticity and attachment is the impact in the later in life. And as a parent, one of the most important things you can do to establish trust with your child, is to establish trust to your child. And we know that trust from this foundation of healthy and positive relationship between parents and children. So what I want to discuss is, like I said, the context of attachment and authenticity and why it's important and ways to build and maintain the trust with our child. So the way I will do that is, of course, to before I get started, I just want to have my special reminder, the special request of not trying to get you out of, I already know this, but are you applying this knowledge today in your life, in your parenting? Try to process this in the space of, do I do it already? Okay, so ask yourself those things. Then you can just listen to it and you will know what to do with this information. So just a reminder that's the mindset shift that will bring joy to your parenting. Okay, so be intentional and ready to apply the things that can impact your family. So now back to our topic. Why is trust important? Okay, so trust is important for several reasons, and for each reason I want you to take the time to think in which level you are with your children or with your child. So like I say, we know certain things, but the question is, do we also feeling it and applying it? So we know that it's a form of the basis of positive and healthy relationship between parent and children. So stay there. Is that where you are today with your children? It helps children develop a sense of security and confidence. Pause. Is that where you are today with your child? Again. And it's also a way it promotes open communication and honesty. Are we here with our children today? We also know that trust helps children to feel comfortable seeking help and support from their parents. Are we there with our kids today? And the reason I want us to be mindful of building trust with our child is because it takes time to actually do that. It takes effort. It takes the necessity to be intentional, because it's something that you do daily to basically prove that you are acting in your child's best interest. So the child can actually, we'll do some tests here and there to know I can actually trust my parents. So first, of course, all of that is because, I am very inspired and I love Gabor Mate's work. Gabor Mate is a psychiatrist and an author, maybe now more known as an author than a psychiatrist, I don't know, but he wrote books on trauma, addiction, and so much more. And I love the way he approached mental health and, like I said, addiction or trauma. And so essentially when we talk about the basic need of a human being, he mentioned one side, you have the basic need of attachment, which is being able to connect, to belong, to be loved, and to love. And the other one basic need is authenticity, which is being in touch with who you are, being in touch of your nature, the source that you are when you were born, of just simply having all the feelings that you have, who you are. So that's the authenticity part. And now when we come to a situation where a child authenticity doesn't match the attachment need, and I'm going to explain why I go there now soon, the child may feel that if the child is authentic with all his emotion and everything that he is feeling, he may think that his parent will reject him because of that. And when they have those feelings, they suppress the authenticity, because what is important right now as a child is, I want my mom and dad to love me. So they choose between authentic and losing their attachment, and in that case, our parents' love, our affection are more important. So now you're in a situation where you suppress those authenticity and then you adapt. And later as an adult, it came back to us and we're like, I don't even know who I am. Like, what is the real me? And you have all those conflict inside of you that you don't even know where it's coming from. So if I give you a concrete example of I have 3 kids. So they are playing together and arguing, and one is getting upset, the other one is crying. So now let's say in this example the boy is crying. So let's say my son is crying and my daughter is upset and angry. So now I come to the room, I don't even try to understand what's going on, and I'm just yelling at everybody, which is another aspect of, okay, you're yelling. I'm yelling at my child and I'm saying, you stop crying, why are you crying? You're playing with, and so like I said, I want to insist in the context of he's a boy and the sister is angry and she's a girl. You're crying, why are you crying? You're just arguing, and you go to your room and calm down, and you're upset and you're angry, and you send them to some equivalent of timeout. And you are telling them that this behavior is completely unacceptable. You don't absolutely have no reason to cry. You don't have to have any reason to be angry. What is all of that? You need to stop, and you come back when you all of that are completely normal. So now those kids are in their room by themselves. One is crying, feeling guilty about crying. The other one is angry, upset, feeling guilty about being angry and upset. And now they're saying to themselves in that room, Mama doesn't like it when I'm upset. Mama doesn't like me when I cry. Mama said, I'm not supposed to be crying in those circumstances. So what's happening now is the suppression of the cry or the anger. And what we just said there is like, this mom that doesn't like it, they're going to sacrifice that because they want us to like them when they are a child. So again, what do we want? Today, plenty of research shows how that suppression of authenticity, emotions, is linked to mental and physical health issue, which is going back to the Gabor Mate's book that he wrote, When the Body Says No. And he provides detailed information and research about that link, about the suppression of your authenticity or the lack of attachment, and then how it shows up later in your mental or health or physical health. So now your question is, okay, should I just leave my kids be there and like arguing in their room and just let them be? Of course not. Of course, absolutely not. The goal here is to use this opportunity to teach how to master your emotion, how we do that. But for that, it goes back to us. Do we even know how to do that? Do we even, are we able to have those steps? Like I said, I came to that room yelling at everybody, being upset because I couldn't even handle that. So the goal is here to know that are we able to ourselves master of emotion, and are we able to then teach it to our kids so they can know that it's okay to be who they are? So now, once I'm in the mindset of I did the work, I'm doing the work of my own emotional state and my own mastery. So now I go to the room or the situation, and we can change the context of the way you are entering the room. Or let's say you lose your control at this moment and you just send them to their room, and now you go back to the room and reflect and share what the different options that you can do with them. So in that case, the first things to do and to teach is to validate the emotion. So you go and you say, I can see that you're feeling upset right now. I can see that you're feeling sad right now. Let me sit here with you, and so you can tell me what happened. So at this moment, he doesn't feel rejected for who he is or how he feels or whatever the emotion he had. He feels okay. He can, and depending on the situation, you can sit there while he's calming down, and then we have a conversation later, because you cannot really talk at the same time that they are like all up high. Then after he calms down, and depending on the age, we can already go deeper. So my kids are teens and I have a 9 years old. So I will say the different things to those two contexts. To my teens, I will usually go deep, and I will just explain to them how I usually manage, and explain to them that usually you don't respond to what happened, but you respond to an interpretation of what happened. And that's why you get triggered and angry. So then once you explain that, you're saying, feeling angry and frustrated because it happened the way that you didn't really want it to happen. He doesn't feel excluded, because he say, you mentioning to them that it happened to you, right? But this is how I'm going to now give you some tips of how to use it, so next time you can try to see if you can use it differently. And instead of expressing it in and acting on others. So first you recognize that you are bawling out inside of you. Your sister is like provoking, or whatever the situation was. And then now you're bawling inside, and you see that you're getting triggered. You recognize it and you say it. So, and you in those situations, you have different steps that the more you practice, the quicker in your head it goes. And it would, and we can, in that circumstance, add a script to our child so they can know what to do. So in front of someone that triggers you, I will say, hey, first I will recognize that my heart is beating very fast, and I can see that now I got triggered. And I'm going to say to this person, you know what, I would prefer to talk about it later, because now I can see that my body is getting triggered. So let's not talk about anything now before we say anything that we may regret, right? So that's one aspect of handling it. And as human, we don't need to be like, we get triggered a few times a day. So to give them the tool to know what to do, but still being okay that you have those feelings. And one of my kids' attitude, and I would look at them and be like, my body is fuming right now. Let's address that in a moment. And in your heart you say, because I want to make a point without anger, so you can fully hear what I'm saying to you. And because you're talking with a place of peace and kindness, this is how you're managing your anger. You're not suppressing it, because you're acknowledging that something is happening, something is triggering you. But at the same time, you want to match what is outside in your action to your values of your kindness being important. So that's usually when you express things out of anger, that's where you feel guilty, because it's not you and you don't like it. So usually you try to say, like, you know what, let's just stop. This here bothers me so much, but let's talk about it in a moment when I'm calmed down, right? So that's the trust that I want to talk about today. Do our children able to be fully authentic and still be loved unconditionally in our home? Do they actually fully feel it? Okay, and I think that's the work, because it's not easy. we know that it's difficult to accept our full us. So let's imagine a little child who is depending on our validation when they're little or things like that, and we want to make sure that they are not in this position of suppressing any emotion and not feeling comfortable. So, which goes back to now it's the time for our Shwet connection tool of the week. And the connection here is have a conversation with your child about emotion and ask whether they trust to be fully themselves with you and fully comfortable expressing any emotion. And just listen and validate. You know, it's not the space to judge. It's just the space to listen. And sometimes they give our children give us the best feedback. Sometimes it's feedback that allow us to grow. And if we are humble enough to know that we are not perfect, that we don't have all the answers, and they may have the answer. I think the humility to know that our children may have the answer to our growth and our understanding is huge to me. And I think that's the kind of work that we need to be doing with them. So if you can just do that this week, having this conversation with them, depending on the age you can address and go a little bit deeper, because it's a way to teach them all of those aspects. And like I said, I will be doing the part 2 of the other kind of trust that I wanted, which is like the basic aspect, which is also an important aspect, trust, and that's going to be on the next video. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on on our channel for more insightful content. We're going to bring a video every week, every Sunday. So now I will see you next time. Thank you. Au revoir.